One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is one mic.
And welcome into a Wednesday edition of One Mic with Big Mike. Wednesday, a.k.a. Hump Day edition. Hopefully you've gotten over that hump pretty well today. I know I have. Today's been a pretty good day. Got a lot to talk about today. Got a special guest coming up at 7:30. Got kind of a continuation of Monday's show. You know, the Super Bowl aroma and the post Super Bowl aroma still kind of lingers in the air. So we'll get into all that as the show progresses. Don't forget, you're listening to me and this show, One Mic with Big Mike, on Spreaker.com, the Spreaker.com, and the Spreaker app for all of your mobile devices, whether you have a Windows phone or Android or Apple device. It's there for everyone to be able to use. All you got to do, once you get the app or you log on to the website, is follow my show. And you do that by signing up for your own free Spreaker account, searching for my show, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE, and following me. It's pretty much that simple. You can also follow me with that same handle at Twitter and Instagram. Like my Facebook page, ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE, One Mic with Big Mike, and see all the foolery and the ignorance that I'm posting on Facebook. I'm trying to, I think I've caught on a little bit to the whole Facebook thing. For those of you who don't know, I'm new to Facebook. With the show starting up in November, I think maybe a couple weeks later, right before we got to December, I embarked upon this Facebook journey, and I don't know, it's going all right, I guess, but still got a lot to learn, and not even trying to be honest with you. I'm not putting a lot of effort into it. I'm doing what I think you're supposed to do, and I'm not even sure half the time if it's working, but it's there, and I'm utilizing it. I'm trying to utilize it to the best of my ability to promote the show as much as I can. Speaking of the show, today, like I mentioned, we got a special guest at the bottom of the hour, 7:30. We're going to talk to Ben Troupe. He's a former University of Florida tight end, second-round pick in 2004, I believe, by the Tennessee Titans. So we're going to talk to him about Cam Newton. He's a guy who played with Steve Air McNair, another big, strong, fast, big arm black quarterback who lost a Super Bowl in devastating fashion. Actually, I think that was right here in Atlanta, as a matter of fact. So we'll talk to him about that. He wasn't on that Super Bowl team, I don't believe, but just want to talk to him about, because a lot of people are making the comparisons left and right. Russell Wilson, or people have gone back and done the Steve McNair situation, and people, everybody's doing Peyton wouldn't do this or Tom Brady wouldn't do that. And it's kind of ridiculous to me, but I gave my opinion on the Steve McNair thing the other day, and now that I have an opportunity to talk to someone who actually played with him as a younger player, as a matter of fact, in the NFL, we can possibly get some additional, not even additional, some actual insight on Steve McNair, the football player, and whether or not Ben feels as though Cam may be able to learn a little bit from how Steve handled his thing. I'm personally, truth be told, I'm a person that's all about be true to who you are. Damn everybody else. Be true to who you are. And then at the end of the day, you can lay your head on your pillow at night knowing that whatever decisions were made, they were made by you and not by somebody else's version of you. So that's going to be pretty interesting as the day goes on. And looking forward to possibly talking to another former NFL player, former NFL champion with the Denver Broncos, not this Denver Broncos team, but the John Elway Denver Broncos teams. A guy named Byron Chamberlain. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to him on Friday, and trying to line up a former member of the Atlanta Falcons, one of the D's in the DVD backfield, TJ Duckett, Hopefully trying to line him up for Monday as well. So, took a week off last week to kind of get things in order and try to move things forward, and it seems to be coming together pretty well. At the bottom of the hour, I just mentioned the guest, so we won't be doing on this day at the bottom of the hour. What we'll push it to the top of the hour at 8 o'clock, and we'll take a look back into the history of sports each and every day. We kind of make sure, it's not just all about foolery. We bring some facts to the table and let you guys know about some things that have happened historically on this particular day. It is also, guess what, Women Crush Wednesday. We used to do that with the other show, with the Sports Kings, Rob Calloway and I stopped doing it with this show. But you know what? It's a show for guys. Why not? You know what I mean? So I started that up again today. God, don't ask me what the young lady's handle was. It's like the real, it's the real something or the other. That doesn't help anyone, does it? All right, I'm going to tell you guys here in just a second. I'm not going to say another word until I can tell you guys what the real Miss Cheeks, R-E-L, not the, it's not even the, it's at R-E-L, let's start over, 3, 2, 1, at REALMISSCHEEKZ, of course, got to do that, Z at the end, so Real Miss Cheeks is today's Woman Crush Wednesday, and we'll do that every week. Well, I'll try to remember to do it every week. And then also, you guys want to submit some nominees or people who you think fit the bill, whatever the bill may be in your case. By all means, man, have at it. Holler at me. Let me know what's popping. Also, don't forget the chat room is wide open if you guys are listening right now, listening live. I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. Well, mainly till 9 p.m., just basically until I stop having things to talk about. You guys can jump on in the chat room and let your thoughts be known and holler at me, or you can holler at each other while you're in the chat room. Do what you want to do, man. This is what this show is all about, man. It's not really something that can be confined to one certain set of rules or any rules at all, to be honest with you. I just do what I do, you know what I mean? So, along with on this day, let me get back to my little note sheet here. Like I said before, we're going to kind of give you the update on the Cam Newton, what I call Operation Teardown. You know what I mean? Because I warned you guys last week, man. I saw it coming. There was this not the law. I thought the Carolina Panthers were going to win the Super Bowl, but I've just seen too many times what happens with athletes so many times, especially athletes that are so polarizing, which makes it easy to have an Operation Teardown, where you build it up. I don't see any problem with Cam dancing. He's just having fun. Look at that joy on that kid's face when he gives him that football. And then he doesn't dive at a football that he fumbles. And oh my God, Cam doesn't give any effort in the biggest game of the season. He's a bum. That kind of stuff starts happening. And, you can say what you want to, the Peyton Mannings of the world and the Tom Brady's of the world. They've built up a certain level of cachet to where they're given the benefit of the doubt more times than not. But my theory seems to always stand true, man. About dudes that they're not a problem. His teammates love him. He seems to be doing the right things on and off the field. You don't hear about him getting in any trouble and things of that nature. Even though, he's in situations where it could turn. You see Cam on Instagram. He's hanging out at the clubs and doing all this kind of things, but he still found a way to make sure that he's able to enjoy himself in those settings, but not be involved in anything negatively to this point. But once you find that crack and that chink in the armor, for so many people like a Cam Newton, and many times it's young, successful, good-looking black dudes who catch the wrath of the media. And then, as I've stated many, many times before on this show, it's not necessarily something that you can call racist, but there is a racial element to it because of the fact that most of us, the way the world, the way the country is comprised, most of us are comfortable, and we feel a lot of times more obligated to people who look like us. This is why things like the Rooney Rule and affirmative action are in place in this country, because that it's obvious to smart people. You know what I mean? And it's not something that people a lot of times consciously do, yet still is done. You know, so we'll get into all that, and we'll definitely talk about it with Troupe as well. I want to talk about something that I kind of mentioned yesterday as being a little bit of an epidemic. Not an epidemic. It's not to epidemic proportion. I don't want to be the guy who does that, who the sky is falling. But the retirements that started last offseason and have continued this offseason. A couple guys, John Beeson being the latest one today, retiring, and me just wondering if the NFL is really looking at this. I know I talked about the other day how, you know, the NFL is the one league that it pretty much replenishes itself the quickest every offseason with 7 rounds, 32 teams around. You know, you're getting players in, and then you have like the undrafted dudes, and you have the supplemental draft, and it's not baseball. Like baseball has like 4 drafts and like 84 rounds of draft, but half these dudes, the majority of these dudes are going to be playing like, you know, AA ball, single A ball for the next how many every years, and very few of them make it to the big leagues. In the NFL, everybody. Training camp starts, boom, everybody's there. And you have a chance to make the team. You know, some people have a lesser of a chance than others, but the chance is still there. You know, every year we see a bunch of undrafted guys, 7th-round guys who are making a difference in their ball clubs. So I just wanted to I have a feeling. There's a sense of like you saw it in the rap game. You remember when, you know, MC Hammer started making all this money, and then, you know, he didn't really know what to do with it. You know what I mean? And everybody, he was doing Pepsi commercials, and he was getting the gas face, and he was selling out. That ain't real hip hop. But like now, that's the norm. Like you have to have multiple revenue streams. People got their liquors and their clothing lines and all this kind of stuff, and no more is that considered to be a sellout, because people saw from earlier how easy it is to lose, you know, 8 figures. And we've all seen the Broke documentary on ESPN. Andre Rison and those boys talking about how they lost all their damn money. Now, players are getting a lot smarter, man. And yesterday, the reason I bring this up is because yesterday I saw an article about Marshawn Lynch retiring. And I mentioned this about Rob Gronkowski. He says he don't even touch his check, his paycheck. He just live off the endorsements. And Marshawn Lynch, unbeknownst to many of us, same thing. Marshawn Lynch was like, yeah, whatever. I ain't gonna touch these checks. I'm just gonna live off. And it ain't no meager living either. It's $5 million a year he's getting off endorsements from Skittles and Pepsi and people like that. So he's good. But the fact of the matter is now, like those things weren't available to a lot of players 20 years ago, as well as the NFL money. Your contract money wasn't as big. So now you're looking at a situation where dudes is like getting to 29. Was like, I don't have to do this no more. I'm good. Like Antonio Cromartie drives a Prius, and I heard him talking about it one day. He's like, because I've grown up, and I've understood that I don't need a bunch of cars. You know what I need to do? He got like 12 kids now, and what he sounds to me like is a guy who's very much responsible for the fact that he has 12 kids. Not like he has 12 kids. It's like whatever. I live with my wife and these kids. Those other kids. He doesn't seem like that, because he seems like a guy who is consciously thinking on that level of, you know, this money has to last me and my kids for an extended period of time. So I want to also talk to Ben Troupe. I'm gonna call him Terrell Troupe during this interview. I know I am. Terrell Troupe is my guy, former Buffalo Bill, former University of Central Florida player as well. And you know, I'm gonna do it. I know I am, but no, whatever. Also, some news out of the NCAA, Louisville. We didn't get the chance to talk about them and the self-imposed sanctions, and you know the chick, the madam, the hoe. I think you can call somebody a hoe if that's their job. If hoeing is your job, I can call you a hoe, I think. So anyway, her, you know, she did an interview today on sports radio in Kentucky, and I'll give you guys the details on that as we move forward. It's getting close. 2 weeks away from the NFL Combine, where we start to evaluate the players. You roll them out there in their skivvies, and guys are pinching on them and prodding on them. And I had a homeboy back in the day who was like, I wondered just how the slaves felt when they was being sold. You know what I mean? Because it's like you there, you naked, they looking at your teeth and you pinching your body, fat, and all this kind of stuff. It's he told me it's a very interesting experience, to say the least. So I started watching some film today. A couple of guys that have been on the Falcons on some mock drafts associated with the Atlanta Falcons, the local team here. What's the kid's name? Shalik Calhoun, kid from Michigan State. I saw about a half of his game today against the game they played against Iowa State. I actually saw the game, but memory not being what it used to be, and me not really particularly looking for this kid. I went to Draft Breakdown, which, by the way, man, y'all got to, if you care and you want to know what guys are, and you didn't get the chance to watch a whole lot of college football, and you weren't paying attention to every player on the field, this is a wonderful draftbreakdown.com, man. You can go and find any player you want to look at, and they have cut up. I watched 3/4 of football of Shalik Calhoun in about 12 minutes, because all he do is just cut the plays out that he's in the game. No offensive plays, and the only thing is, it's not like coaches film. It's still the game film, so the announcers are still on there. It's harder to do when you're looking at DBs, but for what I'm doing here, and to give information to the people here in my hometown, they're going to be looking at interior linemen on the offensive or defensive side of the football. So, draftbreakdown.com. Y'all got to get on that, man. It's if you care, if you don't just want to listen to the Mel Kipers and the Todd McShays and the God, I can't think of his name, Charles Davis and those guys. By all means, man, take it upon yourself to figure out what your team needs and how guys may possibly fit into your team scheme. Also, we got to talk about the Atlanta Hawks, man. They take on the Chicago Bulls tonight in Chicago, but even more so, a lot of NBA trade deadline 8 days away, and a lot of talk is being made, and a lot of people are reporting that the Hawks have been in talks. Matter of fact, I think it's actually on my television right now. ESPN, they're talking about the Hawks and the Celtics in a trade for guys like Al Horford, Kyle Korver is said to be on the block, Jeff Teague, even some slight interest in backup point guard Dennis Schroeder. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. Very extensive article on the things that are being talked about with the Atlanta Hawks here. And the comment I made on Facebook, on my Facebook page, what's my Facebook? ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE, One Mike with Big Mike, that it sounds like a teardown. It sounds like the Hawks know that last season, I don't want to use the word fluke like Charles Barkley used, but it was kind of an aberration that they maxed out. Everyone played at the highest level that they were capable of playing at, and with this particular squad as it's assembled, it doesn't seem like Coach Budenholzer, who is now also the GM, doesn't feel like this team can find their way back to an Eastern Conference Finals and compete for a chance to go to the NBA Finals again, much less win it. Because right now, I'm gonna tell you like this straight up, the All-Star break is coming up this weekend, but as soon as it's over with, why not just start the playoffs? Let's go, because inevitably the NBA championship is going to be played in the West, and more likely than not, Oklahoma City has a very good chance. I'm not gonna say they don't, but let's call it a 3-team race then. Oklahoma City, San Antonio, all things being equal and everyone staying healthy. Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and of course Golden State. I don't see the Cavs competing, to be honest with you. Not with those squads. I don't care how much Tyronn Lue is saying he wants to up the tempo and all that kind of stuff. All right. You gotta get dudes that can hit jump shots consistently. And while Steph Curry's still hitting 28-foot jump shots with the regularity of Andre Drummond's free throws, you got a problem on your hands, man. Seriously. I saw them dudes getting at it yesterday, man, against Houston. And Houston tried to hang in there for a minute. This is why when Greg Popovich says that the 3-point shot is a gimmick, nah. It's a gimmick in the same way M16 is a gimmick. Nah, it's deadly. You know what I mean? Because the first time you find yourself, up by 2, and then you get stopped twice, and in those 2 stops, they hit 2 threes, you've gone from up by 2 and then 2 trips being down by 4. Or is that right? Yeah. And they just keep coming in waves. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they just keep coming in waves that way. And you're never, ever as close. It doesn't ever seem like the other team, whoever they may be, is ever as close as they think they are because of the threat of that 3-point shot and the fact that they have so many guys that can hit them consistently. It ain't just Steph. Like, Steph is like otherworld type of stuff. But you got Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes went off last night in the fourth quarter. Draymond, when he's on, he can hit the three. You still got Andre Iguodala. I don't really see Sean Livingston shooting the three that much. But hell, 5 is enough. You put those 5 dudes on the court at the same time, game over, man. It's game over. So, yeah, All-Star game is good for them to have a little bit of break. I think they're like 50-something and 4. Something ridiculous. Some ridiculous ass. Or like 40-something and 4 through 51 games. Is that what it is? So I guess I should probably be able to do that math, right? 47 and 4. Yeah, and it's just ridiculous. You know, it's just what's happening is ridiculous. So, yeah, all those things coming up right here on One Mic with Big Mike. Don't forget, Spreaker.com is where I'm being heard. The chat room is wide open. You guys can get inside the chat room by logging on to spreaker.com or by downloading the Spreaker app to your phone, whatever mobile device, whatever system you may be on, Android, Windows, Apple, whatever you may be doing with yourself. Also, don't forget, man, Kobe and the Lakers. Haven't seen Kobe Bryant play basketball all year. You know what I mean? Even the games that he's played well in, it's just hard because it's a crapshoot. You don't know when it's going to be. And I was talking to somebody today. I don't do bad basketball. Like Kobe Bryant's one of the greatest of all time. He's done 20 years in the league, and I've seen plenty of Kobe Bryant. Like, I don't get the whole, let me rush out to see Kobe in his last season, because what are you really looking at? What are you going to see? You might see Kobe, blaze somebody for 35 or 28, but then you might see Kobe get 8 on like 20 shots. No one wants to see that, dude. It's like the 3-legged dog in the neighborhood. It's like, oh, that's sad. You know what I mean? You're just looking at it like, oh, it's still a dog, but the other dogs just look at it like, come on, bruh. Just stay in the house, my man, or if you got a house. But anyway. So, yeah, also I'm going to check out the Hawks tonight as well. Once I'm done with the show, I'm going to check out the Hawks. They're going to take on Derrick Rose. And Jimmy Butler's out for a minute, too. Jimmy Butler's got a knee thing, no ligament damage. I think like 4 weeks is the timetable for him. So it'd be like Derrick Rose and Pau Gasol and Doug McDermott and guys like that. So, yeah, Cam Newton spoke today. Team showed up at the facility to clean out their locker room or clean out their lockers and pack up for the offseason, man. And, it was time for Cam to speak if he so chose. It was time for him to speak on him. On what everybody was describing, a lot of people were describing as him pouting or him being very, very melancholy after the loss to the Denver Broncos on Sunday. And I saw an article today, and maybe I can find it here. Cam did the right thing talking on Garbage Day. Okay, because here's the thing. When you say that, when you make a statement like that, that's an implication that there is a wrong thing, and the wrong thing would be for him not to talk to them. Like all this sanctimonious stuff that the media does, feeling like someone owes them something. Like I know contractually, the NFL says the players have to give a certain amount of time, right? But like if Marshawn Lynch wants to just get up there and sit there and say next question or whatever, you're the idiot for continuing to stand there, because the NFL does not make a rule that says you have to stand there or you have to even interview that person. They just have to make themselves available. So at a certain point, when do we get to the point where, like, you're just being a jackass? You're not just trying to do your job. You're just being a jackass. Because Marshawn Lynch is not going to say anything to you. You know what I mean? And you'll go talk to Russell Wilson. He'll say a lot of things to you, but still really not say anything to you. Which one is really worse? Or better? So saying Cam did the right thing by talking to y'all, it's like, come on, man. Like, who are you supposed to be? But you know what? I love the things that he said. And if you didn't get a chance to check it out, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what he said today. Or some of the things he said. Something that I mentioned it on Sunday, and I mentioned it on Monday. And this is like a commonly known quote, so I'm going to take a lot of credit for it, like I made it up or nothing. He says, quote, "You show me a good loser, and I'll show you a loser, end quote. Yeah. And don't give me people losing graciously and all this kind of stuff and still smiling through their teeth. You know, that's all a part of a PR thing. And if someone don't care, you know what I mean? Because Cam obviously has people that love him. You know what I mean? And I feel the same way about myself. I say what the hell I want to say. You know why? Because I don't care how it makes you, a stranger, feels. I don't. I got people who love me. You know what I mean? And accept me for who I am. So if I can be myself around those people, yeah, there's no need for me to change around you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying people who do that don't have people that love them. But I feel like Tom Brady's very contrived. I think Peyton Manning is very contrived. You know what I mean? They're very weary of the things that they say and making sure that they say the right things. And, you know, I'm going to go home and say my prayers and kiss my babies and, you know, all that, you know, craziness. I'm not saying he's not going to do that, but it's the Manning company line, essentially. Cam also says, quote, if I offended anybody, that's cool, but I know who I am, and I'm not about to conform nor bend for anybody's expectations because yours or anybody's expectations will never exceed mine, end quote. And once you get to that point, like I tweeted something the other day, at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE, one Mike with Big Mike on Twitter if you want to follow me. I was like, Cam talk like a dude who know the hood got his back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about anybody else. My people don't love me. You know what I mean? And the things that he's saying, they're not vile. They're not out of pocket. They're not offensive things. It's just you want more. Media members, you want more. You want to, you know, rake this dude across the coals, and you want to march him out in front of the county, you know, into the county square or the town square and make him, you know, repent for his sins. Come on, man. Whatever, man. You know what I mean? If this dude, because everybody always talks about guys not caring, you know, all these dudes care about if they check or whatever. But when a dude showed you that he does care and it really does affect him, what happens on the football field? Oh, then he's pouting, and then he's a loser, and, you know, he's acting like a loser. I heard someone say that today. He's acting like a loser. All right, cool, whatever. And, like, this shouldn't even be a thing where it sounds, because I'm listening to myself, and it sounds like I'm defending Cam Newton, but it really is nothing to defend. Like, if you have to defend someone being who they are, we got a problem. It says more, that in and of itself says more about society than it does about a person like Cam Newton or any other person who is just like, you know what? This is how I'm made. This is how I'm built. This is my makeup. You can deal with it or not. Either way, I'm going to be cool. He goes on to say, quote, who are you to say your way is right? I have all these people who are condemning and saying this and this, that, and the third. But what makes your way right? End quote. I just laugh because that's Cam's, like, that's his crutch thing. This, that, and the third. But he's right. He's right. You know, someone has told media members, and I'm going to say white media members, that they get to make the rules on how athletes act and what people are supposed to do and how they're supposed to act. Nah. Be yourself, man. Be yourself. And the fact of the matter is, he's done all right being him. You know what I mean? The evidence kind of, like, if you want to call him fake, and people have said that he's fake and he knows when the camera's on and all this kind of stuff, that's cool. But he's done all right. This is a guy who's won a national championship in junior college, national championship in college, Heisman Trophy. He's won the MVP. He's the MVP of the league. You know what I mean? Went to a Super Bowl. You know, first pick of the draft overall, man. Whatever he's doing, it's, you know, he's doing all right for himself. There's this thing like Jericho Cotchery, his teammate. They asked his teammate. This is the final thing before we go to break here. He's talking about listening to Christian rap or something like that. But the quote that he gives from a song that he listens to is, quote, "They'll hail you to nail you." That's the same thing I'm talking about, right? They build you up to break you down. And the build up for Cam happened like meteorically. Like, after this year being a year with no one expecting anything from the Panthers, it became, oh my God, this guy is God. You know, look at what he's doing, dancing, and handing footballs out, and wearing funky cleats, and, He got the dab on his T-shirt with his baby son, and and people say, now, you asked for it. You do all that, you asked for it. Nah, you're an idiot. It's One Mike with Big Mike. We're going to take a quick break here and come back and talk to former college and NFL tight end Ben Troupe about some of these same things, as well as some other things, some of the guys he's played for. He played for Steve Spurrier. He played with Steve McNair. So we're going to talk to him about all these things. Don't forget, I'm on Spreaker.com Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. You can catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and on Spreaker at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. Please follow me on all 3 platforms and like my Facebook page, ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. We'll be right back.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So of course we all know there's lots of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. But here's the thing. This problem is entirely solvable. Seriously, we already produce more than enough healthy, nutritious food in this country to feed every single last one of those hungry kids. We just need a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is out there every day gathering surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Kane is in the building, nigga.
Welcome back to One Mike with Big Mike on this Wednesday, a.k.a. Hump Day, of course, helping you get all the way over the hump. Got about another hour and a half left in the show. Don't forget, Spreaker.com is where you're hearing me. I'm also on the Spreaker app for all of your mobile devices. Make sure you guys are following me on Spreaker at the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE. One Mike with Big Mike. Also use that same handle on my Twitter and my Instagram. As far as Facebook goes, I'm at facebook.com/ONEMIC WITHBIGMIKE. It's One Mike with Big Mike. Only thing different is you got to spell the numeral out instead of just being lazy like I am and just using the number 1. So there's that. Now, as promised, told you guys had a special guest coming up at the bottom of the hour, and I do usually I deliver. Not all the time, but things happen. You feel me? Ben Troupe, former Florida Gator, former Tennessee Titan, former second-round pick of the Tennessee Titans. He joins me right now. Ben, what's going on, brother? Hey, let me give you, round of applause for Ben. There you go. Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me, man.
See, the last time, let me give people a little bit of the backstory. What happened was you didn't talk to me the last time you did a show of mine, the Sports Kings. I was hospitalized at the time, had to have some work done, help was not doing the very best. So basically, it was kind of like a catfish situation where I reached out to you on Twitter and then handed you off to my partner, Rob Calloway, and then you and Rob did the interview. You know what I mean? So you was talking to me, but then you ended up doing the interview with Rob. So this is my first time talking to you, man, and it is definitely my pleasure and appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join me. Let me make sure I give you all of Ben's information here. You guys make sure you follow him just like I do at Ben Troupe, TROUPE 84. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram. Now, Let's see where I want to start. Let's start with Sunday, man. Let's start with the Super Bowl. I'm sure you saw the Super Bowl and how it played out. First of all, did you see the Super Bowl playing out that way?
I didn't. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I thought that while I did think it would be a good game and the defense would struggle, I didn't. I underestimated Wade Phillips and his ability to really have a game plan and really let Von Miller and that defense line really get at Cam. I thought it would be a good game, but the way that defense dominated, man, I didn't see it, unfolding like that.
Now, post game, there were some things that came out of the post game with Cam Newton, and the way he either we can say did or didn't conduct his post game interview. Something that I said to one of my buddies the other day. I had him on the show on Monday. He works in Raleigh, in North Carolina, and he's a white guy. And my premise to the show on Monday was that I don't think a lot of media, which is predominantly white, understands the cultural pressure that's on a guy like Cam. Like, Cam is the kid who came out of the neighborhood that made it. Like all the D-boys, all the rappers still respect him and know him, but they also know that he's not a part of what they're a part of. But he's still, like, what am I trying? He's different than what Russell Wilson is. You know what I mean? So he's harder for people to take. And when I see him being that angry about the loss, I don't see it as a guy, like a lot of people want to say he's immature. A lot of people want to say he's not a true leader. I see it as a guy who really wanted to win. And really wanted to win, not just for himself, not just for his teammates, not just for his city, but for a lot of the people who kind of on that Cam Newton background, a lot of black people that were on that Cam Newton bandwagon. How did you interpret what you saw in that post-game press conference?
I mean, I took it a similar way as well. I understood what he meant, but the unfortunate part about perception is everything when it comes to a position like the NFL. And then when you're the NFL MVP, of the league, and you Cam Newton, you're as polarizing of a figure as Cam Newton is. I understand why he said it the way he said it, and like he even said it today. He said, "I'm not here to be what you guys want me to be. I'm my own person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect." But I also feel as though that Cam Newton, he gets scrutinized by the media a little differently because he has had to make a lot of strides from his rookie year to second, third, fourth, ninth, fifth as maturing in the media. And to me, I just think he blew a great opportunity to really show how much maturity he has, grown. He has attained over the years. But, hey, man, he lost the Super Bowl. And I'm a sore loser just like Cam. I don't want to talk when I lose,
right.
But unfortunately,
right.
That comes with the job. Unfortunately, that comes with the job. And he knew that their mics was going to be all in his face because unfortunately, you got those media people who sit back and say, "I got you now." Mm-hmm. Everybody was thinking that because you was winning that you had changed. Boom, we're going to show you that you haven't changed as much. But I think he has grown a lot, and I respect the fact that Cam Newton doesn't back off of his statements. Most guys, they'll say something, and when people criticize him, they try to back off. But he don't back off from it. He said, "Listen, I am who I am," and you got to respect that.
My man, same here. That was probably the most impressive part of it to me. The fact that a day later, once the cooling off period happened, he didn't come back and was like, "You know what? I apologize for my actions." He was like, "Nope, screw y'all. This is what I do. Watch what happens next year. I'm gonna be better." Like, I can't do anything, me personally, but respect that. Now, let's make a compare and contrast, something that you can do better than most. You played a couple of years with the great Steve Air McNair, right? Another guy, big guy, strong guy, fast guy, big arm. A little bit later on in his career, though, than Cam is now. But a lot of people made reference to the loss in the Super Bowl. Now, I don't think you were there for the loss in the Super Bowl.
No, 99. I was 99, and I was still in high school.
Right. So, not necessarily referencing that, but people were asking questions like, well, how would this guy have handled it? You knew him. Give us some insight on the man that Steve McNair was, and give us any comparisons or contrast that you can make between being up and close and personal with Steve McNair and seeing Cam Newton from the outside looking in.
I believe they're very, very similar from a standpoint of being an Iron Man. I mean, Cam Newton was in a car wreck, and then he hurt his back, a couple of discs, herniated discs, and he played on Sunday. I played with Steve McNair where he had a broken sternum, and anybody know about your if your sternum is broken, you can barely breathe.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And Mac played on Sunday. So when you talk about the Iron Man of the NFL and being able to do it all from the running standpoint to the big arm to just having that confidence to go out there and know that your team feeds off of you, I think they're very similar. Now, what they differ at is one thing you respect about Steve McNair, he understands his position, not just being an African-American quarterback, not just being the face of the team, but he understands, like you say, it's big. The black community looks at him to be a representation. I mean, the man's from Mississippi with the Alcorn State, and he was the second pick in the draft. Cam Newton, plays 1 year in Auburn, wins the Heisman, went first pick in the draft. And and when it comes to Steve, he's going to answer every question. He's not going to let the personal side of it get to him because he understands, man, this is my job. Steve McNair understands that he chose football. Football choose him. And he never ever starts feeling as though, listen, because this man was co-MVP of the league with Peyton Manning was in his prime. He still, I mean, to me, I don't think he should have had to share it with Peyton Manning. If it's even close between him and Mac, I think it should have went to Steve McNair. But it's just one of those things to where they're very similar in impact, but they differ in the understanding of their impact. Like Cam Newton understands what he brings to the table, but it's still that little piece of him that don't get the fact that you don't have to confine to what people want you to be, but you have to stand up there and take it. It's like, I know you don't want to take it, but that's what the position calls for.
I got you. He is Ben Troupe. See, I keep telling people, I told the people in the first half hour that I'm going to mess around and call you Terrell Troupe. You know who Terrell Troupe is?
No, who's Terrell Troupe?
Terrell Troupe played for the Buffalo Bills, and he's a buddy of mine. I have him on the show periodically, and I look at your last name and his, and I told these people I'm gonna call this dude Terrell before it's all. I haven't done it yet.
I was making to it, no problem, man.
I've caught myself. Yeah, I'm catching myself. I'm not gonna try to do it. Well, I'm gonna try not to do it. Is what I'm saying. But anyway, he's Ben Troupe of the Florida Gators. He was an All-American down there with Steve Spurrier and Ron Zook. Second round pick. I was going to say second overall. Second round pick for the Tennessee Titans in 2004. Make sure you guys are following him at Ben Troupe. That's TROUPE 84 on Twitter and Instagram. Speaking of your college days, speaking of Coach Steve Spurrier, he decided to hang it up this year in a very, very, to me, I'm just going to give you my perception on it, and I'm going to get your thoughts as well. I feel like he quit on that team in the middle of the season. I feel like he could have waited until the end of the season, but because it wasn't going well, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take my ball and go home." He's your former coach. What were your thoughts when you heard that he was leaving the team mid-season, the South Carolina Gamecocks?
Classic Steve Spurrier. I mean, one thing about Coach Spurrier is this. Listen, this man don't play the radio. What you see is what you get with him. He's about as honest and blunt as it gets. I mean, he even said it. He said, "Listen, I'm a coach at South Carolina for as long as we good and we win games. If we start losing games consistently, I'm out." And you can respect that because you got to think. Nobody even knows it. South Carolina has been a respectable team, but he brought them to the upper echelon. These dudes was 11-2, 3 straight years. True enough, they had Jadavion Clowney and Shaw was playing out of his mind,
Marcus Lattimore.
I respect the fact that Marcus Lattimore as well. He was definitely a big, and I hate what happened to him. But it's like what happened with Coach Spurrier. He said, "I'm not retiring. I'm just resigning from here. I mean, you may see me again, but not saying he's earned his stripes to do that. But if anybody should be able to do that, it should be Spurrier for the simple fact that you say, listen, man, before this thing really hit the fan and before it really get ugly, I'm going to just get on out of here. I know it ain't the best way for me leaving, but I'm going to go ahead and move out of the way for the next coaching candidate to come in, which they replaced him with Will Muschamp. I don't know how in the world that happened. But, it's just one of those things to where SC, and that's a total different issue right there with the Will Muschamp thing. It's like most coaches, especially African-American coaches, they don't get to be a bad coach and get another job.
Right. It's like, what has he done?
He stuck it up in Florida. He stuck it up at all. In his first year, he get a head coach job. Yeah. How in the world does that happen? But, I mean, getting back to Spurrier, man, hey, listen, he did it his way. And that's what I get from him, man. He's a guy that he don't sugarcoat stuff. You know what you're getting with him. And I think the president probably knew it was coming before it happened. Mm-hmm. But Spurrier was like, look, man, I think he needed to mess with the media, too, because he has a way of, like, controlling the media, controlling the narrative like that.
Now, we're at a stage in the year where it's probably my favorite part of the year. Like, the season's over with, but the NFL never stops. The NFL is a beast that never stops breathing. And so now it's evaluation time. It's time for the new crop, the fresh talent to make their names known. Heading into in about 2 weeks now. Well, we just had the All-Star game, the Senior Bowl, the Shrine game, and I think there's a couple of other small ones. And now the kids are getting ready for the draft. Now, you're a guy who went through that process. Give me a little bit of insight from the time the season is over with and preparing to perform at the Combine. Now, you didn't perform at the Combine, correct?
No, I didn't do anything at the Combine, no.
Okay, so give me all the way up until that decision not to, like, how does that decision get made not to perform at the Combine? From the time you end your season and you know you're a big-time dude. You know, a lot of people had you with a first-round grade. You end up going in the second round. But that's still, pretty high in the draft. So your mentality and the things that you had to go through from the end of your senior season until the evaluation process was done and it's time to get drafted.
We had just finished up the Outback Bowl in Tampa, and my strength coach was handing out the guys who got selected to go to the Combine. And I was one of the guys. So once you get selected to go to the Combine, and even if you don't get selected, you got to get an agent. And the great thing about the University of Florida is their compliance department is the greatest because they know that you don't know anything about picking an agent. They know you know nothing about asking the questions you need to ask, the things that, and the thing about the agent, they got to hit all these checkpoints. It can't be no negative. And I ended up picking Joe Spiegel. He was a great agent. I mean, he was honest about it. And when I went to the Combine, he told me. He was like, man, listen, he said, you can work out, but I would, if I were you, I wouldn't work out. He said, because most guys, they need the Combine to, introduce themselves to these NFL teams, whereas you don't have to do that. And he said, I guarantee you this, if you don't work out, Kellen Winslow won't work out. And he didn't. He said, but if you work out, he's going to work out because he looks at you as his competition as far as and Ben Watson, who's still in the NFL right now, came out of the University of Georgia. This guy was a beast at the Combine. This guy was ridiculous. But I chose not to work out because I didn't feel as though I had anything to prove. And when the NFL coaches asked me why I didn't work out, I said, because I feel more comfortable at my pro day. I mean, I'm used to that. Quarterbacks, the field, and different things. But it did. I don't even think it hurt my draft status because I was going to go to the Tennessee Titans in the first round, but they drafted down in the second. They traded down to the second because they got another pick. So my pick actually helped them get another pick. So I didn't look at it as me not. Obviously, I wanted to go first round, but I mean, I was still the first pick of the team. But I mean, if I could do it all over, I would do it the exact same, man. I mean, I didn't regret anything, but the Combine is a meat market. It's a show, man. It's the crazy thing about the Combine is you have to stand on the stage with some boxer briefs on, and they get your height, your weight, your hand size, but you literally on stage with a light shining on you, and out in the crowd you got every head coach, every general manager. And they looking at you. Somebody may say, tell them to turn to the side. You know, they'll say, somebody may say, tell them to bend down to touch your toes and whatever. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Hey, can I say something to you real quick? Can I say something to you? I had a homeboy back in the day who went to the Combine, got invited to the Combine. He left asking himself the question, I wonder if this is the type of stuff that they made slaves do when they went to the market.
telling you.
Is that comparable?
Yeah, you got to think, Mike. Think about this. Think about walking in a room that's dark, and it's you and every other you and 20 other tight ends, and somebody say, hey, all you guys strip down. Strip down to what? Strip down to strip down to your tights. No awesome. Socks, no nothing, and you go on a stage. And you can see eyes and you can see images, but you can't see them. You just hear voices.
Man,
and you got to do whatever they ask, and you really standing there like, are these people serious? And they dead serious. It's like picking out a car, man. They want to make sure you are who you are. They want to make sure you look how you look. They want to see how you look with no uniform on, which to me is crazy, but that's how it is.
Now, moving from pre-career to post-career, because now what we're seeing now, I feel like, is the start of something. You see, I think you were seeing the start of guys who are making plenty of money, guys who are a lot more educated as far as what the sport is doing, not only to their bodies but to their brains. And we're seeing guys like, John Beeson, who had a injury history, but guys like Calvin Johnson, guys like Marshawn Lynch saying, you know what, I got my loot, I'm gonna go ahead and go home. When you decided to hang it up, the first question I want to ask you is, did you make a formal decision to do that, or was it just the phone stopped ringing? Because I know there's always these two camps, either guys who want to keep playing. I remember talking to Terrence Mathis. He was like, I've been in the league so long, it's not fiscally possible for a team to pay me the money that my tenure requires me to get paid. So I'm unable to keep playing. For you, which one was it? Did you say I'm gonna walk away, or was it just the phone stopped ringing?
Actually, I got to walk away on my own terms. I mean, when I came to the NFL, I only wanted to do three things. I wanted to be the first guy drafted from my college, which I was. I wanted to be the first guy drafted to the team I went to, which I was. I wanted to be to walk away on my own terms. I remember back in 2009, I was working out for the Arizona Cardinals. They had Ken Wisenhunt, and the offensive coordinator was down there, the running games coach. They had a general manager, and these guys wanted to sign me. I was like, you guys want to sign me? I'm like, yeah, I'm making them wait and different things. And it's not like I'm Brett Favre or anything. Like, they were sitting back waiting on me. But because I knew I could still perform at a high level for an NFL franchise that was willing to sign me, I walked away. Because my health wasn't deteriorating or anything like that. But, I had hit the injuries real hard towards the end of my career, even though it was a short one. I'm a country boy from Swainsboro, Georgia. I got an opportunity to play in the National Football League. I was never one of those guys that cared about the accolades. I'm looking around, and this is way before this CTE stuff. This is way before all this information coming out. I didn't want to be that guy. And I always say this. The reason why they only show you guys Sunday, because if you saw what guys had to go through from Monday to Saturday just to make it to the game, and this is an every week process, I say, man, as long as it's football players, there's always going to be massage therapists making money.
No doubt.
There's always going to be acupuncture guys making money. And I didn't want that for me, but at the same time, I just appreciate the fact that I was never shown the door. Nobody ever said, Ben, you're losing a step. I was told, hey, man, are you going to sign? You're going to turn down, so I was able to walk away. The phone was actually ringing. It was still ringing, but I had done what I was there to do, and I respect what Marshawn Lynch and Calvin Johnson doing, because it's funny, when everybody's telling you why leave now, that's when you've done something, made a tremendous impact in the league.
He's Ben Troupe once again, finishing up here. Florida Gators tight end from 2000 to 03, All-American, second-round draft pick in 04 by the Tennessee Titans. Make sure you guys are following him at Ben, Troupe 84 on Twitter and Instagram. I'm glad you mentioned the CTE and the head injury stuff, because that's something that I've been very, very interested in for a while now. I was talking to one of my former teammates over the Christmas holiday, man, and we were kind of just talking about kind of the things that we did with our heads playing football, you know what I mean, and to now have some insight on how those things may affect us down the road. And like now we can sit around and laugh at it, like I know I had about 3 concussions a game and that kind of craziness. But first of all, did you see the concussion movie?
I did. I think Will Smith did an incredible job. I like the fact that in the movie you can see how the NFL. I like how they show how the NFL was going to try to push him off, push him away. Like, hey, this guy's crazy. But he stuck with it because he understood that his purpose was a lot bigger. And when you see what's happening now with these guys, it's scary, man. I mean, I don't feel as though I'm going to ever suffer from those things. But, man, the first thing that hit is your helmet. I mean, the first thing that make contact is your helmet.
Yeah.
Whether it's special teams, offense, defense. So when you think about how much head trauma you've had from – and I have to clarify something. The people say that football is a contact sport. No, football is a collision sport.
Exactly.
You can touch somebody, that's contact. So, and when you think about how many collisions you've had, or if you think about the fact that your coach will look at you and say, "Hey, can you go? Can you hear me? Yeah. How many fingers? I got 3. He good. Send him back in there."
Yeah.
So it's a scary thought, because when I think about what happened to Junior Seau and Ken Stabler, they're gonna see if he has CTE. It's a scary thought, because a lot of guys having the same symptoms, man, and they can't diagnose you with it until you're dead and gone, which I think is crazy.
And you know what? You know what's funny? I was telling actually Terrell Troupe this the other day, that the scariest part of the whole thing to me, of all the people you mentioned, Junior Seau and guys like Dave Dewars and guys who went out in a very horrific way, but I think the scarier thing is Frank Gifford, a guy who was living a regular life. You know what I mean? He was living a regular life in public. His family members saw these changes in him, and then when he passed away, they cut his head open and found out that the calcium deposits, the chronic traumatic encephalopathy, was there with him. So it's one of those things where even for people who are seemingly to other people walking around and in a regular light could still be privately suffering. To me, that's the scary part. I heard some people from the local NFLPA talk about it as though, and no, they not talk about it as though they actually use the words, it's a horror film. It was a horror film for them. And I saw the movie, and I'm a guy who watches movies, and I look for, I'm not a person that can judge acting and all those things, but I think one of the most impactful scenes in the movie was when he put that thing in that bottle and just start shaking it in that liquid, and it was like, this is what happens to your brain. It's just sitting in liquid and it's banging up against the walls of your helmet. To me, anybody, I don't care what you understand, if you know science and all that, any dummy, including me, can understand that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, he did a great job. To me, what I was, two things I respect. I respect the fact that the story had to be told, and I respect the fact that Will Smith was the one they did, because people are gonna take notice to Will Smith's movies. Mm-hmm. If you watch Wild Wild West, you're gonna watch Concussion. Nothing against Will Smith, but and what I appreciate about the movie is these are true events that are taking place. And the fact of the matter is, if you've ever played football, whether it be Pop Warner, high school, middle school, you're subject to this. Mm-hmm. It's not an NFL thing. It takes the NFL to shed light on it, because if it's in high school, they can push it under the rug. If it's middle school, they can push it. But the NFL is undeniable. Yeah. And I think with the NFL, this is what you got to know about the NFL. The NFL picks and chooses what they decide to be relevant or not. Yeah. Because if you notice, when it came to the concussion, when they wanted a big concussion settlement, they gave money to the players. And the reason why they gave money, because they don't want to show what they know. Right. They'd rather just throw money at it. Well, just give them $800 million. Because if they have to show what they know, man, you're going to be like, oh, my God. You're going to be like, what in the world? Because I believe the NFL know a lot more than they showing, but they'll give us a movie like Concussion to kind of make people think that, they really care. But in the grand scheme of things, man, they don't care. They ain't in the business of caring. They're in the business of making money. Yeah, and I tell people all the time, it's window dressing. All this like defenseless receiver stuff and this helmet technology. There is no technology that can prevent a concussion. I always tell people, don't look at the guys running around. Look at those guys inside. Watch how many times that guard in that 3 techniques head smashes together throughout the game, 40 or 50 times. That's the real deal. As we wrap up here with Terrell, dang it, I did it. Golly. God dang it. Y'all motivated. 2 minutes to go. God dang it. As we wrap up here with Ben Troupe, former second-round pick of the Tennessee Titans. The last question I'm going to ask you before I let you go is, I don't know if you have any kids. If you do, or if you plan on having any, would Ben Troupe Jr. or Little Ben play football? Yeah, I would let him. I have a son. Yeah, I would let him play football. And the reason why is this: the reason why I would let my son play football is, I'm a part of USA Football and Heads Up Football. I think there's a way. I would make sure that my son is being taught by people who understand that, really teaching them how to play the game. And because I'm not going to do what Kurt Warner did. I'm not going. The NFL. I feel just like Herm Edwards. The the NFL has provided me with some unique opportunities, and if I develop something along the lines because of it, I can accept that. That's what I signed up for. But I want that for my child, no. But I wouldn't keep my child from experiencing what I've learned through football because it's dangerous. Because like I say, baseball is dangerous, basketball is dangerous, but football is the most dangerous. And I wouldn't limit him if that's what he wanted to do, but I would make sure that whoever is coaching him, especially in the smaller levels, were heads up football certified. But I wouldn't stop him though. I don't want my child to get hurt, but hey man, I've learned a lot through football. It's helped me become the person I am. And hey man, if my son want to get out there and do it, I'll let him do it.
Definitely. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Ben Troupe. Don't forget, once again, to follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Ben, Troupe 84 on Twitter and Instagram. He is a former tight end for the Florida Gators and the second-round pick for the Tennessee Titans in 2004. Ben, thank you so much for your time. We're going to have to do this pretty soon. Here again, my man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, man. We're going to definitely have to do it real soon, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Have a good one. All right, so, yeah. That's kind of stuff I'm talking about. You kind of get inside the game, man. I'm trying to do more and more of that as the year and the months and the weeks and days go by, man. It's One Mic with Big Mike. When I get back from the break, from the little short break, we're going to do On This Day, and we're going to move on to some other topics. We're going to talk about the situation at Louisville. We didn't talk about the Derek Fisher firing either. We didn't do any of that, and some more guys are in a little bit of trouble in the NFL. So we'll do all that kind of stuff next right here on One Mic with Big Mike.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
One Mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One Mic with Big Mike.
Ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One Mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
All I need is second hour of the show, One Mic with Big Mike, right here on Spreaker.com. You can hear me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 o'clock. Make sure you guys set your calendars and your clocks for that, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Also, make sure you sign up for your free Spreaker account and follow my show. The number one, MIC, WITHBIGMIKE is what you want to search for, and then just give me a follow. You can hear me live and join my interactive chat room and see what's going on with everybody and see what's going on with me and let your thoughts be known. And if you want to interject and call me an idiot and all those nice things, go right ahead. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number one, MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Also on Facebook.com/ ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. Want to thank Ben Troupe for joining the show in the last half hour. It was a pretty interesting interview. It went in a direction that I didn't really see it going in, but, we started talking about the concussion situation, and if you listen to the show, you know how interested I am in that. Just as, as a source of education, just kind of being educated, knowing what's really going on instead of knowing what the people who benefit from these type of things want you to know, or benefit from you lacking knowledge, you not having the knowledge, what they don't want you to know. I try to go a little bit past that and talk to people who, like Ben Troupe. You can hear him. You can hear what he said. The NFL is not in the money in the business of making people feel good, or of educating people. They're in the business of football and making money. I find that to be absolutely 100% true. You feel me? Oh yeah, it's the top of the hour. I told you guys we're going to kind of blow past on this day. When we have guests, we usually on this day at the bottom of the first hour, but because we had a guest, Ben Troupe, made sure I push it back to the top of the 8 o'clock hour. So we'll go ahead and knock that out real quick and then get into some of the things that are going on here locally from my people here in Atlanta with the Falcons and with the Atlanta Hawks.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right. On this day in 1920, Major League Baseball representatives outlawed pitches that involved tampering with the ball, meaning you couldn't scuff it no more, you couldn't spit on the ball anymore, any of those things, and that's why now when guys get caught with like the pine tar situation, I forget who that was, the dude from the Yankees, was it? He had like pine tar like all down his arm, like I just kind of made a mistake, and they kicked his ass out the game. On this day in 1946, congratulations, happy wedding anniversary to Miss Rachel Robinson. Jackie Robinson married his wife, Rachel Isom at the time, on this particular day in 1946. On this day in 1961, the American Football League's Los Angeles franchise was transferred to San Diego. And here in about another year, the San Diego franchise will probably be transferred back to Los Angeles. Funny how those things work, huh? On this day in 1971, Bill White of the New York Yankees became the first black baseball announcer. Shout out to Bill, man. Trailblazing. Without Bill, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. So shout out to Bill White. I didn't even proofread these before. I'm reading them right now. That's why I'm so surprised. On this day in 1962, Jim Beatty became the first American to break the 4-minute barrier for the indoor mile. I'm assuming that it's a little bit different running outdoors, and I don't know. Seems weird to me. On this day in 1992, Iron Mike Tyson was convicted in Indianapolis of raping Desiree Washington, a Miss Black America contestant. And if you don't know the whole story behind that situation about her showing up at his hotel room at like 2 o'clock in the morning because she wanted an autograph for her mom, when apparently he had been around them all day. He was a judge for the pageant. There was some very sketchy details in this particular case, but only two people really know what happened. It's Desiree and Mike, and Mike still to this day, I believe, still proclaims his innocence. On this day in 2003, Brett Hull of the Detroit Red Wings became the sixth player in NFL history to score at least 700 goals. And finally, on this day in 2005, the NHL and the Players Association broke off talks after 2 days. The previous day, Commissioner Gary Bettman, boo, like every time they mention his name in hockey, they boo. That's probably one of the only things I know that happens in hockey all the time. Gary Bettman had said that a deal would need to be ready by the weekend to save the season. And I do believe that entire season in 2005 was lost. So yeah, that is your Hump Day edition, your Woman Crush Wednesday edition of On This Day. Don't forget, we're going to start doing On This Day more. Not more. We're going to start trying to do it every week, the way we used to do it, the way I used to do it, the way we used to do it with the Sports Kings. I got to make sure I separate the I's and the we's. Now, I'm having such a hard time doing it. I've done so much tandem radio that it's hard for me to say I instead of we, but I'll try to work that out. Our Woman Crush Wednesday for today is at Real Miss Cheeks, spelled Cheekz. So you guys show her some love, give her some more follows if you want to do that, if you want to check out her pictures and all that kind of stuff. Go right ahead, you freaking pervs, you. So yeah, on the local front here in Atlanta, it's time, man. It's time for the Falcons to, I'm not going to say rise up. It's just time for them to get better. A disappointing season by a lot of Falcons fans' expectations, which, take that. If you live in the city, you know why I'm kind of scoffing at that whole notion of the expectations of Falcons fans, because every loss is like the worst loss in history, and every victory is like the Super Bowl. So there is very little middle ground around here. But the Falcons will be picking number 17 in this coming NFL draft. The NFL Combine starts in about 2 weeks in Indianapolis once again. And some of the names that what name I saw today on Draft Breakdown on their mock draft? Braxton Miller. I immediately stopped looking at that. Like, the video stuff that they provide is top notch. The cut ups, but I can't put any stock into that. Like, Braxton Miller being a first round draft pick, I don't care if it is in the middle of the first round. First of all, he's still Braxton Miller. He's still a college quarterback. He's still a project at wide receiver. There's no way in hell. Like, people here will lose their you-know-what if that happened. But some of the names that may suit the fancy of the fan base here are some guys that you might want to look out for as far as the draft side of things go. Former UCLA linebacker Miles Jack, the Mr. Do-It. I think Miles Jack is actually from here as well. From what I understand, he played park ball with Jim Moore Jr.'s son, when he was down here coaching the Atlanta Falcons. DeForest Buckner, saw some of his tape today, wasn't really... I saw one game. I saw the game against Michigan State. I felt like that was the toughest competition of what was available. And he looked stiff. They ran at him very effectively, and he was playing more of a 3-4 DN, not really that pass rushing DN like a Vic Beasley plays for the Falcons. So I don't know if that would be somebody. I saw that on the SB Nation mock draft. So I don't know if that would be somebody that the Falcons could look at in earnest in the first round. The other guys, Shalik Calhoun, saw some of his tape today. The one thing I'm gonna say about him is, the other thing about this, the Forrest Buckner kid against the run, he looked like a guy who is capable of using his hands very well. He's got to get a little bit stronger, but he uses his hands pretty well in the run game, for whatever that's worth. Then the Shalik Calhoun kid out of Michigan State, big time edge rusher. But the problem with that is, I didn't see a lot of counter moves. I saw every time he tried to counter, he would get caught in his counter move, whether it be a spin, whether it be an inside move. He wasn't strong enough to hold up against being washed down on the inside move. And with the spin moves, he was kind of like, he turned into like Velcro man. He was sticking to the lineman. But when it came down to just pure speed, he got a long first step that allowed him to get around the corner pretty easily when it seemed like he wanted to. Seems like another guy that you have to do a lot of coaching with. Personally, let me before I go any further, let me tell you my thoughts on the matter. I would prefer, if I were a Falcons fan, I would prefer the Falcons look to a veteran to match up with their young defensive end. Kind of the same way where you had Roddy matched up with Julio at the wide receiver position. You have a guy who's been in the league, who's seen a lot of the tackles, can shed some information, and has had success also, which leaves Corey Bierman out in the cold in this conversation. So he's talking about guys like Bruce Irvin, guys like Mario Williams from Buffalo, guys like that. But if you didn't want to go the DN route, again, in the first round, guys like Shalik Calhoun, Jonathan Allen, everyone's seen him down in these parts because why he plays at the University of Alabama. Leonard Floyd, a guy who's a kind of a tweener, just like Vic Beasley, a defensive end linebacker out of UGA. Shaq Lawson, the guy who I remember last year when Vic Beasley was getting was preparing to be drafted, people were talking about this kid Shaq Lawson, that he was actually going to be better than Vic Beasley Vic Beasley the next year. And he did play very well this year for that Clemson team that only lost one game, which happened to be the national championship game to Alabama. And then recently, I told you guys yesterday about Andrew Billings, big D tackle. Now if you want to go that route, D line with the draft, I would say D tackle, big run stopping kid, a guy who can also strong enough and explosive enough to get push in the middle. To help out the guy that you invested the first round pick in last year. And Vic Beasley, and try to get some of these guys in your division, the Jameis Winstons, the Drew Breeses, if he it looks like he's going to be back, and obviously the MVP, Cam Newton. Try to get some of these guys on the damn ground, you know what I mean, to help. You got a pretty good deal going on in that secondary, but you can't cover people forever. You just can't. It leads to penalties, it leads to big plays, all those kind of things happen. Now, as far as the Atlanta Hawks goes, they're taking on right now. They're in Chicago right now as I speak, taking on the Chicago Bulls. And there was an article I saw yesterday, just, kind of perusing. Didn't do a show yesterday, but I still, try to keep up and make sure I see the things that are pertinent, just in case there's some things I need to talk about. And it said the Hawks are having serious, quote-unquote, serious internal discussions about trading Al Horford, Jeff Teague, and Kyle Korver. Now, I posted this on Twitter, and I said, not on Twitter, on Facebook, on my Facebook page, ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE, and someone responded, apparently you didn't read the whole article, which I didn't, to be honest with you. I saw the headline, and I saved it to be able to read it later being for today's show. But I did read it. I read it today. And I replied to that person today, and guess what? My initial assessment seemed pretty on point. Yeah, it's a damn teardown. Right now, where the Hawks stand at the writing of this article, there were 1.5 games between both third place and seventh place. You know what I mean? This log jam that is the East outside of Cleveland and Toronto, basically. Yeah, the Hawks are right in the midst of it. You know what I mean? Because Chicago's in there, and Indiana and all these teams, they're right there. Kevin Arnowitz and Brian Windhorst of ESPN reported that the Atlanta Hawks, quote, the Atlanta Hawks are engaged in serious internal discussions ahead of the February 18th trade deadline about the future direction of their team and their core players, including 3 All-Stars from the historic 2014-15 team, Al Horford, Jeff Teague, and Kyle Korver. Sources close to the organization emphasize that if the Hawks become active in the next week, it will not be to quote unquote blow it up, but rather an attempt to exchange their existing players for commensurate, if younger, talent. Those sources said head coach and president of basketball operations, Mike Budenholzer, isn't inclined to dismantle the team less than 9 months removed from a conference finals appearance, end quote. All that is, that whole we're not blowing it up, quote unquote, yeah, that's for you guys. That's being said to you guys. Because that word always seems to be like, oh my God. Nah. This was something that I was on radio a couple years ago, year before last, as a matter of fact. And I had that opinion that this team was just okay. And I'm always of the opinion that just okay isn't good enough as far as the NBA is concerned. Things don't really happen worst to first in the NBA like they do sometimes in the NFL. You get a quarterback, Andrew Luck steps in, and then next thing you know, boom, they're winning division titles back to back. Cam Newton comes into the picture, boom, boom, boom. First time ever in the NFC South, what? You got back-to-back champions for that division. This doesn't really happen in the NFL. Like last in the NBA, last season was so much of an aberration. They went a month. I think this particular month that we're in, or maybe it was January. This is January. No, last month, January, where they didn't lose a game. Not one. That's an aberration. That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And then when they got to the playoff and saw a real team, and really, yeah, they saw a real team in that Cavaliers squad, and you could tell where the deficiencies were. You could talk about Dellavedova and then the injuries that the Hawks had with Damari Carroll at the time, and who else got injured? Shelvin Mack was injured, and Kyle Korver had the knee situation late in the series. But inevitably, this team is just good. And for what they've done with those draft picks that they like, Tim Hardaway Jr., who they got from the Knicks for a draft pick, spent a good portion of the season in the damn D League. And then when he wasn't in the D League, he was getting DNPs, did not plays. Coach's decision, not for injury. And that, in essence, is your draft pick from last year. So the Hawks have historically not been a team that handled draft picks very well. This is going to be Mike Budenholzer's first on his own. Danny Ferry's now gone. I've heard his name pop up in a few different areas for other teams. He's gone. And so now Mike Budenholzer is going to have to, work it out. And maybe it's not blowing it up, but it damn sure it has the aroma of blowing something up. You know what I mean? One of the guys, Al Horford, I saw him doing a demonstration while I was doing the first half hour of the show, a demonstration of the Celtics, obviously showing a lot of interest in Al Horford. Al Horford is going to be a free agent at the end of this year. If you don't know, next year there's supposed to be like an explosion in the salary cap. It's supposed to balloon in a major way. And Al Horford is projected to be worth more than $145 million over 5 years. I'm telling you, man, get it how you live. You not looking at the dude that's like, what? Al Horford? Man, get as much as you can. As much as you can, because that's what we all trying to do in life. You know what I mean? And the guys who are able to accomplish it, by all means. I don't care. Like, Al Horford is an okay player. He's described by many as a borderline all-star each and every year. And that's cool. But understanding this, $145 million over 5 years is going to make Al Horford one of the highest paid players in the entire league. It ain't about what you're worth. It's about what you negotiate for. And you becoming a free agent at the right time when the salary cap does what it's going to do this offseason. He's going to turn 30, which is going to be is a concern. If you're the Hawks, man, you want to pony up $150 million to keep a guy who's turning 30, had two clavicles or two rotator cuffs in back-to-back years. He injured. That's a lot to pay, for a guy who you're not really certain is going to get you to the point that everyone's to the place that everyone's trying to get to, and that's championship. You know what I mean? There's talks of Jeff Teague being shipped out of here for George Hill, who, in case you didn't know, is older than Jeff Teague. Jeff, they're making about the same money. So I'm not understanding this whole we're gonna try to get younger players who are as good. No trade works out that way. Someone loses in the trade. You're not going to get value for guys. You know what I mean? Like, who did Shaq get traded for? Like Lamar Odom and like 3 potato chip bags or something? 3 bags of potato chips? Yeah. You're not going to get value, man, in most trades. It's not going to be a straight up swap. Also, the Orlando Magic, they have Elfrid Payton down there, but they seem to be one of the people who are just, everybody's making calls because you never know. Somebody might do a Trent Richardson on you. You know what I mean? Like Jim Irsay gave up a first-round pick for broken Trent Richardson. What? Yeah, that happened. That really happened. But, well, he's a pill popper and a drunk, so there's that. And then there's Kyle Korver. Well, the Knicks, I should mention this. The Knicks are also mentioned or said to be interested in Jeff Teague as well. Then there's Kyle Korver who, what you going to get for him? You know what I mean? What are you going to get for Kyle Korver? He's 35. He's about to be 35. He's shooting one of his lower three-point percentages in ever. This dude was almost 50% from the field or from the three-point line last year. He was trying to go, 50, 50, 90? That was what he was trying to do, and he almost made it. He's at 38.3 this year. And the offense, if you look at the Hawks play basketball, the offense looks a whole lot different when he's not hitting shots, man, when people don't feel like they have to defend his jump shot, man. And that along with the fact that just the movement in the offense to me just doesn't seem there. So for Atlanta Hawks fans, I understand what's about to happen, man. Mike Budenholzer is if this happens, this is a calculated risk that Paul Millsap will, at that point, and he is now, he's the main cog in the Atlanta Hawks machine. But you got to get another piece. Like, championships are not won, and I don't think Paul Millsap is that guy anyway. Championships are not won by one guy. We saw evidence of that last year. I heard somebody say today, man, that Oklahoma City, like, I thought that whole Kevin Durant thing to Oklahoma City was just kind of like horseplay and like, yeah. But apparently, because of what's going to happen, they're going to have the money to possibly, if they, if it works out and it's something he wants, to sign Kevin Durant. Jesus Christ, the rich just keep getting richer. Gee whiz. Staying, like, while we're here, let's stay in the NBA real quick. On Monday, Derek Fisher got the boot after a year and a half with the Knicks and being Phil Jackson's handpicked guy. Phil Jackson paid a fine to get him because he picked him right off of, he essentially tampered with him because he was still a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball team as a player. He went straight from the floor to a head coaching position, and it didn't quite work out, and there have been many, discussions as to why. If you don't know, he's had a situation. There was a situation in the offseason where I guess he started dating or is dating Matt Barnes' former old lady, and him and Matt Barnes were cool. And, Matt felt the need to lay hands on this dude because Matt is the epitome of what my guy Jason Goff calls hashtag light skin toughness. And yeah, he decided to lay hands on him, got the league, gave him a couple games, I think, and fined him a little bit of money. Or not a little bit to me, but maybe to him a little bit of money. And it seems to be one of those, like, it's like Mark Jackson being fired. Like, if your head man make those type of decisions, you know what I mean? Like Mark Jackson had the thing with the getting extorted by the prostitute or the stripper or both. I don't know. It may be one and the same. I don't feel like all strippers are prostitutes, but this may have been a situation where, somebody was moonlighting as one and the other. Same thing with Derek Fisher, man. Like, if Derek Fisher is banging dudes' wives or ex-wives or ex-girls that he used to play with, yeah, come on, man. And this dude is, again, I'll reiterate, he is moved directly from the basketball court to the head coaching seat. Like, this has to happen in your players. If you Carmelo and you're even, I ain't gonna say if you're Kristaps Porzingis, but who else is on the damn Knicks team? Gee whiz. I don't even know anybody else on the team now that I think about it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're bad, and I don't watch bad basketball, so forgive me. But if you're one of these dudes on the team, you gotta be looking at him out the corner of your eye like, come on, man. You supposed to be my coach? No, I ain't running no damn wind sprints. Yeah, and I dare you to say hi to my old lady, too. Like, you can't even say hi to her. You know what I mean? You can't even say hi to my woman after you do the type of stuff that you do. So now Derek Fisher's out of job, and, he released the obligatory thank you for the opportunity, blah, 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 blah. I ain't thinking nobody for firing me. And I understand you want another gig. But maybe I just don't say nothing. Because I'm not, thank you. And you didn't let me go. You know what I mean? You fired my black ass. You ain't, I got let go. People love saying that. Like my guy, like Rob Calloway says that. When we went on 3, let me go. What, did you ask him? Did you ask permission? Because I don't think you did. No, they told you to go. And had you resisted, security would have gotten involved. You know what I mean? Nah. You ain't let me go. You fired me. And Derek Fisher, you didn't get let go, player. They fired you because had you had it your way, Kurt Rambis wouldn't be. Yeah, by the way, Kurt Rambis is the interim coach for. Yeah, that seems to be his comfort zone. I think Kurt Rambis had his own coaching job, his own coaching gig at one point, years ago. But yeah, I think he's been an interim a few times in the old NBA. So good for him. And again, Derek Fisher. Speaking of putting your hands on people, Blake Griffin got suspended 4 games following the recovery of his hand situation. And look, I'm the guy I'm going to say this. there's times where, dudes, sometimes dudes, you just got to go upside your boy's mouth real quick, or he got to go upside yours because you getting too damn slick. And then, you back friends, when everybody cool now, you back friends. The bigger problem is the fact this dude's already hurt, and then he busted his hand on this dude's face. Like, that's the problem. If you can give, Doc Rivers and Steve Bowman or whoever the owner is, what his name is, some truth serum, they'll tell you that's the bigger issue. The fact that this dude cracked his damn hand wide open. I don't give a damn about no damn equipment, dude. And that's Blake's boy, from what I understand. Hey, nobody care about him. Is this your all-star forward bust his damn hand, and he's going to add 4 weeks to his recovery. At least 4 weeks. And then because everybody know about it now, it's on camera and all this kind of stuff, guess what? We got to suspend you for 4 more games. And all this foolishness about them being better without him, yeah, wait till the schedule heat up a little bit before you make that damn stupid assessment. It's One Mic with Big Mike. We got a half hour left in the show at most. I'm on Spreaker.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Spreaker, that's like speaker with an R in between the P and the E. They have an app as well for all your mobile devices. Make sure you follow my show after you sign up for your free Spreaker account. My handle is the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Use that for Twitter and Instagram as well. And also my Facebook page. You can find that and like it and all those things at ONE MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. We'll come back. We'll get into the Louisville Cardinals situation, as well as some other things going around the world of the NFL. We'll do all that next, right here on One Mic with Big Mike.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So, of course, we all know there's lots of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. But here's the thing. This problem is entirely solvable. Seriously. We already produce more than enough healthy, nutritious food in this country to feed every single last one of those hungry kids. We just need a way to get it to them. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks is out there every day gathering surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. But they need your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Hey, that came in pretty hard. Welcome back to One Mic with Big Mike. We got about, 28 minutes on the dot left. We'll try to fill it up with some good stuff. Nah, it may not be that good, but appreciate you guys for joining me each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. right here on Spreaker.com. I do advise that you go ahead and sign up for your free Spreaker account. That way you can follow me on Spreaker at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE, and like my episodes. Every episode of the show is saved automatically, so if you don't catch it live, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7, you guys can go back. You can share them with your friends. You can tell your friends, and I do ask that you do that. Tell your friends to check me out, man. I think I offer a little something different than you might get on pedestrian radio and the people who are told what they have to say rather than just having authentic opinion. We'll get into all that another time. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. One Mic with Big Mike. Same thing for Facebook. Only you have to spell the number out. So it's ONE MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. You know what I did today as well? I hadn't taken a look at that the O.J. Simpson miniseries on FX, American Crime, the joint with Malcolm Jamal Warner and Cuba Gooding Jr. and Courtney I don't even know his last name. I just know he's married to Angela Bassett, and I'm always like giving him like privately here high fives for that. Like, my dude, you know what I mean? He won. He won. But I don't remember his last name. Courtney. He plays Johnny Cochran in the miniseries. So I told myself, all right, I got a little time today. You know, the prep for the show is gonna be pretty easy. And I sat here while I was prepping and reading and watching. And I was like, oh, this is so, like, what the hell are you people talking about? This is awful. And you know why it probably is even more awful to me? Because I actually saw the tapes of the actual deposition to the civil case, and like all that, like what went on in the Bronco and Cuba Gooding crying. When Cuba Gooding cries, all I think about is Boys in the Hood anyway. So whatever, you know, we had to cry to get Neil on to give him a little. Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to see Cuba Gooding cry. He's like the best crier of crying in all movies, like him and Terrence Howard. Because Terrence Howard, just by him talking, just sounds like he about to cry all the time too. So anyway, I saw it, and I think it's kind of, you know, it feels a little grand opening, grand closing-ish, you know, because it wasn't a very good watch to me. The acting wasn't very good. Everything was super melodramatic and over the top. So I might be out. You know what I mean? I know episode 2 came on yesterday, but yeah. And you know what else kept me from liking it too? Last week while I wasn't doing the show, I was murdering Sons of Anarchy. You talking about Netflix and chill. Like, to the point where I would have Netflix on the TV, and like any sporting event other than the Super Bowl would be on my laptop. I'd be watching it on the laptop with the volume down. Because like this Sons of Anarchy thing, I know it ended like 2 years ago or something. Oh my God. What an awesome piece of television. Now it got kind of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It got kind of corny at some points. And some points, like the way like dudes just break out shooting and like certain guys would get killed. Like they never missed certain guys when it was a hit, but when they got ambushed, everybody was able to duck effectively and nobody got hit or just like a flesh wound or whatnot. That being said, though, like the plot twist and all those type of things, superb. And one more TV note, though, too, because the other thing I had to do today, I had to catch up on American Crime. If you're not on that, man, get on that. The guy who wrote 12 Years a Slave, he does it, and it's a very, very it's very, very intriguing, man. And it's something that, again, it has a lot of different layers to it. It's very layered, you know, socioeconomic issues, race issues are involved, gender stuff, like unexpected gender situation. Like, for example, the story in this season is a lot different than the story from the first. This is the second season, but it's wrapped around a rape allegation at a prominent school from an athletic by the basketball team, a party that the basketball team threw. But the rape victim is a guy alleging that he was raped by another guy. You know what I mean? And there's so many other branches that grow out of that storyline. It's just awesome, man. It shows, and again, like everything ain't perfect about it. You know, like Regina King, she plays one of the moms. She's the mom of a black kid, and she's pretty successful, and she's able to send her kid to this rich private school, and Andre 3000 is her husband. And so they're telling her about what happened at the party because her son is older. His name was published in the reporting of the incident in the paper. And she's like, what? A boy? Boys raping a boy? That doesn't happen. Boys don't do that to other boys. It's like, come on. You never heard of anyone going to jail. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of far-fetched that she's acting so oblivious to the fact that a male can be raped by another male. Which, by the way, I kind of struggled with talking about this subject today but it came up again, and it seems to be something that's coming up very regularly. Because now the University of Tennessee is under investigation. They're being sued, actually, by 6 females for the way they handled alleged sexual assaults, and at least one involving a football player. And the twist to that is, apparently there's an assault element to this on a football player by football players. A football player who tried to help the alleged victim of the sexual assault. He's alleging, or somebody's alleging, that he got jumped on by some of his teammates for helping her. And it's like, come on, man. I was talking to my wife about this, man, and I heard there's a CNN documentary about, you know, campus rapes and these type of things, and I'm gonna say this: one of the primary factors in a lot of these situations, because I thought about this today. It was a time where things of that nature were quantified, and we would label them differently than a rape. We would or a sexual assault. We would call it date rape. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember that. It was date rape, you know, because they even had like date rape drugs. You know, people call them roofies back in the day, and they started calling them date rape drugs, and now they call, I don't know, something else now. Whatever. But now the fact that it's just everything is put under the same umbrella, you get possibly the same mental image of each situation. You know, like a girl is running down, she's jogging on a trail late at night, and some dude in a hoodie hops out the woods and jumps on her and forces himself on her. You know, but in reality, these like look at the Jameis Winston situation. I don't know if anybody saw the video to those situations. The video before, like the actual incident wasn't taped, but he and her were kicking it. They were on a dance floor, grinding on each other, being very sexual, one another, kissing and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying he did do it. What I'm saying is that a lot of these situations, they stem, and the crux of them come from binge drinking. You know what I mean? And in this country, we have allowed that type of thing to be sort of a part of the college experience. And here's the thing, that's fine until something else spawns from it. Like when women are starting to be, you know, jumped on, and dudes are, in a lot of cases, I feel like dudes feel like they did nothing wrong in a lot of cases. You know, like the girl feels a certain way after the fact, the dude feels a certain way after the fact, and then someone else is left up to decide which party is right. And a lot of times that party has another interest in mind, money. These college presidents and the people who are put in place to protect the students, whether it be the man from being falsely accused or the woman from being attacked and then having to possibly be in class with the dude that attacked them that same semester. That's ridiculous on both ends. So I had somebody tell me one time that it was victim blaming when I made the statement, like I said, ladies, just because the drinks are offered doesn't mean you have to drink all of them. And you know what the reality is? That's a true statement for everyone. Male, female, whether you've been raped, haven't been raped, it's a good premise for anybody. Like, no one should want to be blackout drunk. But, you know, you can't make statements like that now because it's not a part of the cult of likability. That's why I say I don't care. I know it's true, and the people who hear it come out of my mouth know it's true too, but they don't want to admit it. That it's not always about the disease. Sometimes it's about what caused the disease. And I'm not saying that if kids don't binge drink, these things won't happen. I'm not saying that. But it seems to be a common thread amongst these situations. Like, when you're a female and, like, you don't even know that you were raped. And I'm not saying you're not sure. I'm saying you don't even know. That girl at Vanderbilt, the police had to show her. Show these idiots, well, I'm glad they were idiots. They videotaped the things that they were doing to her. And she was convinced that, no, that didn't happen to me until they actually showed her the video. Like, when you've gotten to that point drinking, I think what I'm saying is very, very sound advice. You don't have to. Even if it's somebody you think you trust. Even if it's another female. Like, why do you want to be at that level? You know, I don't know, man. I just think the whole thing, like, there's a situation going on right now with Baylor, you know, and it's not even a matter of what's happening, more so than how it's being handled by the people in charge. You know, because it fails everyone. You know, if, like, Jameis Winston, for example, if he didn't do it, the fact that the school did such a shoddy job of investigating it, it looks like he's a part of this larger cover-up to protect football and protect the school. And if he did do it, the fact that this girl has to jump through all these hoops to get some sort of justice because, again, they did such a shoddy job purposely on investigating it is equally as wrong. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Speaking of sexual assaults on campuses by athletes, the NFL has now added a new rule. I wish I could ask Ben Troupe about this. The NFL saying that from now on, like right now, if this is per Lindsey H. Jones of USA Today, per Troy Vincent, the league's vice president of football operations, quote, the NFL will no longer allow players with convictions for domestic violence, sexual assault, or weapons offenses to attend the annual scouting combine in Indianapolis, end quote. Well, you just heard Ben Troupe say, really, ain't that big a deal. You know, if you're that guy, like if you're Joey Bosa, I don't think he has any of these issues. But if you're that guy, you have that issue, whatever. You know what I mean? I can tackle quarterbacks good. I don't have to go to no damn combine because, of course, let me finish this quote. Quote, invited prospects will be barred from any league-related event if a background check turns up a felony or misdemeanor conviction. That's rough, man. Both players that refuse to submit to a background check will also be uninvited. Those players would also not be invited to the draft. And this particular article cites Frank Clark, the kid from Michigan that, from everything I read, and eyewitness statements say he beat up this girl in the hotel room, but apparently he was able to, I think, plead down to a lesser charge. There it is, yeah. To a lesser charge after he was initially arrested for domestic violence, and then I think he said nothing ever happened. But, like, there's little kids who have no reason to lie. It's like, yeah, I think when somebody ran down the hall like he's killing my sister, yeah, that'd be the ultimate of ruses. But I don't know if you guys remember Trevon Boykin, the kid from TCU, who's gonna be a late pick anyway. You know what I mean? Short guy. I don't know if he was gonna get an opportunity to try out other positions because I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. But he was charged with an assault of a police officer, and subsequently suspended for their bowl game against Oregon. You saw that, and they ended up coming back and beating Oregon. It was ridiculous how that happened. Troy Vincent went on to say, it is important. This is where if you're allergic to BS the way I am, like I can take it a little bit, but if you are, close your ears for a second. He says, quote, it is important for us to remain strongly committed to league values as we demonstrate to our fans, future players, coaches, general managers, and others who support our game that character matters. You, end quote, you so full of, you know what, God, NFL, it's like a big PR machine. They don't give a damn, man. They don't care. Now, obviously, I mentioned Jameis Winston when I was talking earlier. He would have actually been invited because he wasn't convicted. He was just accused by the young lady, who, by the way, yeah, you know what happened to her again, probably? I mean, I don't want to make light of her situation, but she sued the school for the way they approached the situation and won a settlement of $750,000. But she only walked away with $250,000. Her lawyers took $500,000. Yeah, they kind of gave her the old on that one. Come on, man. Like, damn, it happened to me, or she's alleging it happened to her. Speaking of things that happen to people, I don't know if I talked about this yesterday. Johnny Manziel, who hates his football career. I did talk about this. I do remember saying that I don't care what happens to him. I didn't get a chance to ask Ben about this either. I'm gonna have Ben on here shortly again, and chances are, if the pattern continues, Johnny Manziel will be doing the same thing again. He was reported this past week by Mike Silver of the NFL, or just yesterday, I should say, showing up drunk before the last game. You remember just how, like, out of nowhere, they just lost the game before that. You remember Johnny Manziel played the whole game to the very end where they had that little clock management thing. He came off the field and slammed his helmet on the ground, pissed off that they didn't get another playoff where they lost the game. And all of a sudden, he's in concussion protocol. And then the next thing you know, he's in Vegas with a damn disguise on. And then he misses the concussion evaluation thing with the team. And Mike Silver, he called him a damn lie. Literally, he called him a lie. The team for saying the dude had a concussion when he didn't. The fact of the matter is, he showed up at practice drunk, and they sent him home. He did come back. Mike Silver came back and said, he apologized because the team adamantly denied that he wasn't drunk. Let me see if I can find this quote. Johnny Manziel, he tweeted he regretted saying the team lied because the team came out with a statement and they said Johnny Manziel was diagnosed with a concussion by an independent neurologist. I wish you could see what I'm doing with my hand right now. He wasn't clear until January 12th. The fact that people are saying we lied about Johnny Manziel's concussion is false. Yeah, guess what? I don't believe you. You need more people. But anyway, so yeah, he's being investigated right now for beating and threatening his girlfriend, Colleen Crowley. And you can read this on, I'll read you a couple of things she said happened. She describes it as a horrific night in which Manziel keeps her from leaving his hotel room, later throws her back in a car by her hair, slaps her so hard she loses hearing in one ear. That's that old Halle Berry. And tells her, shut up or I'll kill us both. Nah, dude. Go ahead. You go ahead and leave. I'm cool. I don't understand that whole situation. Like, we both got to die. I mean, obviously, if you don't want to be here no more, you got the right. But yeah, don't include me in your foolish plan. Manziel smashed Crowley's phone on the tile. This is what she's saying. So she grabbed her computer to try to FaceTime her parents. She's trying to call her daddy. He ended up catching her on the computer. She ran in the kitchen. She caught a knife. This is not a black girl, if that's what you're thinking. And he didn't get cut, so that's how you further know it's not a black girl. Then he ran out the apartment. She threw the knife down, and she went to a neighbor's house, banging on the door, saying she needed help and all that. It seems like a very, very, I know I'm kind of making light of it a little bit because it's over with and nobody seriously got hurt, but it seemed to be a very, very awful situation, and we'll see how this gets handled. And you know who else is looking? Ray Rice. Ray Rice is looking like, let's see what happened now. They probably ain't got no video, though. That seems like the NFL's thing. Like, we got to have video to really show how bad it was. And, yesterday. Let me see if I can find this for you guys before we get out of here. We got like 8 minutes before I get out of here today. Deion Sanders apparently said that Johnny Manziel's problems are, like, it's his girl. Like, you talking about victim shaming. Like, me, like, if I got accused of victim shaming, this takes the absolute cake. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, here it is. Deion Sanders explains why Johnny Manziel's girlfriend, not Johnny, is the real problem. This dude's an idiot, man. Like, I know, like, he's one of my favorite players of all time to watch play football, but he is an idiot as a damn announcer. Jesus. He's lucky people like him. That's what it is. People like him, and people will still bow down to Prime and all that foolishness. Look, he says, quote, Johnny's in love. This is what he's saying on the NFL Network. And Johnny's in love with something that's crippling him right now. I understand it, and it upsets me that grown-ups don't understand it because he feels as though this game don't love him. The people in this game don't love him. So the only thing that he associates with love is that thing that's really inflicting a lot of pain on him, and that's his girlfriend. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, he's an idiot, dude. God, that's one of the most idiotic things. Look, first of all, he's not good at football, at NFL football anyway, right? That's the thing. And then secondly, like people keep wanting to tell me that he's an alcoholic and that's the only problem, but I remember a certain photograph of the rolled up dollar bills, you know what I mean, in the bathroom, you know, and look, we'll find out. Everybody will find out soon, but my suspicion is that it's deeper than just alcohol. That it's more than just him being a drunk. I think the dude got a bunch of substance abuse problems. And again, like I said yesterday, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't. He got the resources. He's got incentive to want to get help. You know what I mean? If he's one of those trust fund kids, and you know his dad is real cavalier like says, my son won't make it to 24. All right, Dad, I'll take your word for it. Finally, let me get this done real quick before. So we talked about a little bit yesterday, Louisville and Rick Pitino, them imposing their own sanctions. They're going to miss the postseason this year, the ACC tournament, the NCAA tournament this year. A team that, from everything I've read, is poised to go to the tournament this year. The tragedy in all this, again, like most times, the kids that are being punished had nothing to do with actually what happened. And if you don't know what happened, I guess he's a former assistant, to kind of put it in broad terms, was hiring hoes and strippers, and sometimes they were one and the same, to come and service the players. His name, I'm sorry, Jesus, Andre McGee, right? He's a former assistant. I think he was an assistant at another college as well. But anyway, this chick named Katina Powell, who now has gone from a hoe and a madam to a best-selling author because some of you idiots want to ingest this tripe. To me, it's really nothing about nothing. He got some low price hoes to come have sex with some college students. It was in a dorm. Apparently, now Rick Pitino was saying, like, you know, he would sit out or coach for free to allow his players to play in the tournaments. But here's the thing, dude. Yeah, it's one of those empty gestures. Why didn't you do that before? Because no one proposed these punishments. Because again, it's not NCAA. This is the school self-imposing the punishments, right? So don't tell me you weren't privy to the conversation when this was happening, and at that time you couldn't have been like, "No, let's not do that. Let's just, not pay me." But in front of the media, you'll give that whole thing because these two kids who are fifth-year transfers, they transferred for the express purpose of playing in the tournament, won't be able to now. So this chick, their names are Damian Lee, and Trey Lewis. So this chick, the madam, Katina Powell, the hoe, was on Kentucky radio, and she says, in a sense, I do have some regrets about what I did. I don't feel like I did the wrong thing. I feel like a lot of people were punished that were innocent. She goes on to say, they did nothing. I didn't know of those guys. They had nothing to do with this. They had nothing to do with it whatsoever. It seems like it comes down on me because they can't play in the tournament, and all of this. The tournament, and all of this. I do feel bad for them again. They had nothing to do with it, and I never sanctioned. What? And I never sanctioned those boys. She's an idiot too. Of course you didn't. You don't have the power to. Like, this is a broad who in 4 years got paid $10,000 to perform tricks. She got paid $2,500 a year. That's like third world country money. Come on, man. Like, just the mere fact that the point of it is another form of just player exploitation. They have no representative. They can't stand up for themselves. They can't fight for their rights. You just tell them you're being punished. What we're being punished for? Well, something that the kids did for you. No, this is 2000 to 2004? It's over a decade ago. Like the NCAA, college basketball, college sports in general is such a racket. And it's so flawed. You know what I mean? You know, dude talking about they'll quit their job. Dabo Sweeney, I'll quit if we start paying these players. All right, man. First of all, you won't. You know what I mean? You won't because you love your check. And second of all, you're full of crap. You're an idiot. So anyway, that's the latest on this whole Louisville thing. You know, they got a bunch of bust-down broads, and now the kids who didn't even get the mild pleasure of busting down the broads are being punished for it. Go figure. Welcome to America, I guess, right? Anyway, that's gonna do it for me, man. I got like a minute to go, but you know, I don't have a minute's worth of stuff. If I broached another subject, it would take me more than a minute. So rather than do that, I'll just end the show. Don't forget, I'm here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will be back Friday. Hopefully, Friday. So I can tell you about Friday's show real quick. Our guest is right now tentatively scheduled to be Byron Chamberlain, former NFL tight end, played with John Elway in those back-to-back Super Bowls. So we can kind of talk to him and get a comparison and a contrasting between, John Elway and what he went through. He actually came back after winning a Super Bowl to win another one. You know, will Peyton Manning do the same thing? We'll hopefully talk to Byron Chamberlain about that. Don't forget, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Spreaker.com. It's One Mic with Big Mike. You can also download the app for any of your mobile devices, your phone or your tablet or whatnot. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the number 1 MIC, WITHBIGMIKE. Follow me on Spreaker with that same handle. Like my Facebook page, facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE. And don't forget, if you didn't get the chance to hear the show live, or if you're listening live and you want to share it with your friends, you definitely can. Just tell them to log on to Spreaker. Every episode of the show and every interview is saved for me by Spreaker. And you can go back as far as you want to and check the show out at your own leisure, whether you're in the car or you're just hanging out and you want to get some legitimate sports talk into your system. Holler at me, man. This is One Mic with Big Mike, and I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Have a good one.